This is not self-help. This is healing. Body, nervous system, wholeness. Energy medicine, Ayurveda-inspired living, herbal wisdom. Learn, heal, and be together. Wholeness isn't fixing, it's integrating. Evolve Global 22's Healing Light Studio. Understanding begins here. Healing happens here. Wholeness lives within you. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Evolve Global 22's Healing Light Studio and our Healing Circle. It is Tuesday, February 24th. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yesterday, we asked an important question. Is the emotion mine or is it absorbed? We began separating emotional ownership from emotional pickup. Tonight, we go further, my friends. Because once you begin differentiating what belongs to you, the next layer appears, the difference between empathy and enmeshment. Empathy is connection with boundaries. Enmeshment is connection without self. They can feel very similar, but they produce very different outcomes. Empathy builds strength. Enmeshment builds exhaustion. Tonight, my friends, we clarify the difference. As always, learning point number one. Empathy has borders. Empathy means I understand you, I feel with you, and I can see your experience. Enmeshment means I become responsible for your experience, I merge with your internal state, and I lose my emotional center. Empathy says, I care. Enmeshment says, I will carry. And carrying eventually collapses you. The human challenge here is that boundaries feel cold to us. Many women in particular equate boundaries with detachment, with indifference, with rejection. We overcome this because we overcome this by shifting our thought pattern to allow or to understand that boundaries allow empathy to last. Without boundaries, compassion burns out. Without differentiation, you resent the very people you love. Empathy without borders becomes depletion. Empathy with borders becomes sustainable connection. Once we make that shift in our thinking, then everything changes because our perspective changed. Learning point number two. Enmeshment creates identity blur. When you are emotionally fused, you lose clarity. You stop asking, what do I need? What do I want? What do I feel? Instead, you ask, what do they need? What do they feel? And how do I keep this stable? Over time, your internal compass weakens. You become reactive to others instead of anchored in yourself. So, how do we overcome the challenge of, I don't know what I feel anymore? This is first very common. When you've prioritized emotional harmony over internal truth, identity blurs. Choose clarity over harmony. Harmony built on confusion is fragile. Clarity may create temporary discomfort, but it builds long-term stability. Confusion is not kindness. Self-erasure is not maturity. Learning point number three, my friends. Fusion often begins in childhood. Many things often begin in childhood. But tonight we're talking about fusion in our emotions. Many patterns of enmeshment began early. If safety depended on reading moods, if approval depended on compliance, if conflict meant danger, you learned to merge. You learned to track, you learned to soften, and you learned to absorb. This was survival, and survival strategies observe or deserve it's been a long day, and survival strategies deserve compassion. Now, something that we often feel in this area is guilt for changing patterns. We feel guilty when we change a pattern that we have learned and been acting upon from childhood, because it just becomes part of us, right? So guilt is something that is a big obstacle. You may feel disloyal for growing. You may feel selfish for stepping back. Honor your survival strategy. That's the first step in overcoming guilt. It kept you safe, so honor it. And then gently choose adulthood over survival. You are no longer required to manage emotional environments to belong. Learning point number 4, love does not require self-erasure. Let me say this one again. Love does not require self-erasure. This is where emotional maturity deepens. You can love deeply without dissolving. You can be compassionate without collapsing. You can remain connected while staying separate. Self-erasure is not love. It is a fear disguised as devotion. One challenge that we all face in this realm is fear of rejection. If I stop merging, will they pull away? You overcome this discomfort by recognizing that it's not abandonment. Some people may resist your boundaries, but secure relationships adjust. Unhealthy ones demand self-erasure. So recognize that discomfort is not abandonment. It's something that is normal when we're trying to change something. Your differentiation reveals relational health. Learning point number 5, 2 separate selves create a healthy repair. Let me say that again. 2 separate selves create healthy repair. Repair requires 2 differentiated people. If you are fused, every disagreement feels like an identity threat. If you are separate, disagreement becomes information. Fusion says if we disagree, we're not okay. Differentiation says we can disagree and still be secure. The challenge to this is we feel at times if we disagree that something is wrong. We overcome this by recognizing that difference strengthens secure bonds. Conflict does not equal collapse, and differentiation allows repair without shame. Now let's look at this from a lens of our power of 3. In energy medicine, enmeshment feels like energetic merging. Your field becomes entangled. Differentiation restores coherence and alignment. From an Ayurveda lens, Vata, a person dominant in the Vata dosha or body type, may overmerge through anxiety. A Kapha dominant body type may hold and carry others' heaviness. A Pitta dominant person or body type may overfunction and try to control the emotional environment. Your constitution influences how you fuse. Now let's look at herbal wisdom. The steady nervous systems tolerate difference better. Nervines and adaptogens support emotional steadiness during relational tension. Again, we are not integrating physiology with psychology. Again, we are integrating physiology with psychology. Now for our journal questions. And if you have not started journaling, please do so once a week for 5 or 10 minutes. Journal reflection questions, here we go. Number 1, where do I confuse closeness with fusion? Number 2, what do I feel emotionally responsible for? Number 3, what do I fear would happen if I created boundaries? Number 4, when do I lose clarity about my own needs? Number 5, what would separate but connected? What would separate but connected look like in my relationships? In summary tonight, my friends, we clarified a powerful truth. Empathy and enmeshment are not the same. Empathy keeps self intact. Enmeshment dissolves the self. Boundaries do not destroy connection, they protect it. Differentiation strengthens love, fusion weakens identity. Emotional adulthood requires two whole people, not one collapsed into the other. On YouTube, we build the foundation, my friends. Inside Patreon, we deepen integration. Inside Patreon, we expand these concepts in weekly masterclasses. We apply them to real relationships, offer structured support, help you build emotional leadership steadily. If you are ready to build differentiation safely and intelligently, join Evolve Global 22's Healing Circle. The link is in the description as well as the first comment. As always, peace, love, and light to each of you. I appreciate you being here. I love you all. I will see you inside the circle.